Hello, everybody. So, a few things before we start. Firstly, this is obviously going to have a lot of spoilers about a lot of TV shows and movies that pertain to Tokusatsu. Secondly, a lot of the sources that were given about these certain rumors, stories, controversies, theories no longer exist. I am putting that out now to be upfront about it. A lot of things, like to spoil one about Philip from Double hating Ryder, a lot of those quotes no longer exist. You can look up on the Wikipedia, like the actual Wikipedia, the wiki, you can look up anything you can. A lot of those sadly don't exist anymore. And if they do, they're on some Japanese blog that I can't read and or find. So I'm putting that out there right now. A lot of sources sadly just don't exist anymore. And because of that, a lot of these entries are going to be pretty much whatever I can find on them, whatever sources I can link to them, as minuscule as they can be. And hopefully that is enough to give context of what some of these entries are. And if not, again, I apologize, but a lot of these things you got to remember are donkeys old. Like, they are very, 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 very old in terms of when they were talked about, when they were released, when they were said. So, I mean, hell, I think the double one was said probably like about 10 years ago at this point. So you just got to think of it that way. That's just how some information just goes away, sadly. And sadly, a lot of that stuff is just not recoverable. And lastly, the most important one, actually, a lot of the topics that I'm going to be talking about, and I'll just say them outright, they have to do with sexual assault, suicide, murder, things of that nature. Very harsh things of that nature that if you have, something against that, or if you don't like hearing about that, if you don't like any of that, look, just turn away now. Because a lot of this stuff I'm going to have to talk about. And if you don't like hearing about it, then again, just turn away now and I'll completely understand. Other than that, if you are ready to go, on with the show. Ah, yes, the iceberg. This trend that seems to be gaining traction on YouTube, and by gaining, I mean it's already died down by the time this video comes out. So why not throw one in for Tokusatsu? Because I haven't seen any of them. And by haven't seen any of them, I mean I haven't searched because I don't care. So let's get right into it. Real quick, what is Tokusatsu? Well, I'm glad you asked, person who obviously did not ask. So, Tokusatsu, by the definition that is given to us by the also reliable Wikipedia, Tokusatsu is a special type of filming in Japan, mostly reserved for live-action film or television dramas that heavily make use of special effects, usually dealing with science fiction, fantasy, or horror films. But, of course, there's other genres in the medium that can be concluded as Tokusatsu. No, this, nor this count. Just, it doesn't. I don't know how to explain it. Nobody else knows how to explain it. Just take my word for it. It don't count. And by the simple fact that this video exists, Tokusatsu has a, let's say, shady past with just about everything. So I thought, instead of doing one for every single series, because those would probably be like 3 minutes long with the actual stories, I thought let's just smush them all together. Level 1, the tip. Alright, starting off pretty easily enough with Masked Rider. Now, anybody who doesn't know, Masked Rider was a failed adaptation made by Saban in the mid-90s to basically capitalize on the Power Rangers fame. and it failed miserably. Why? Because it was terrible as much as these people try to meme it into existence. This one's pretty easy to explain. There are insert songs that were made for Kamen Rider Kuga, and they were never used. Though, apparently, unofficially, and supposedly, there is in fact a version of an episode of Kuga where the song is actually played. Now, that is just a unsubstantiated rumor because, well, yeah, I mean, come on. Nobody's ever seen it. It's a rumor, so whatever. Now this one's the funniest one to me because it is essentially a meme at this point. To catch everybody up, Sentai has just not been doing that well the past couple of years, and every year it is a popular meme to say it's going to be canceled. It's at the top of the iceberg because everybody knows about this by this point. Another comedic one. Essentially, Toei's copyright is garbage. I mean, hell, you just need to look at this channel to know for a fact that we just have the worst luck with Toei. Hell, we've gotten copyright strikes for just using images from Toei. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. Another Kuga one. So, yes, technically, Agito was going to be a sequel to Kamen Rider Kuga, and it's even obvious in the first couple episodes that, yes, it was. Though the producers at the time rightfully decided against it. Mainly because it would kind of ruin Kuga's ending. Yes, actually it was. By all accounts, especially Seiji Takaiwa, the Kiva suit was terrible. It hurt his back, it probably ruined his knees, and it essentially, I would imagine it probably ruined a lot of other things for him for pretty much the rest of his life, because the suit was just so top heavy that it was almost impossible to do anything in it. Another one that's true, yes, the original Godzilla suit was terrible. You could barely breathe, it was hot as hell, and by all accounts, it was heavy. Extremely heavy. Yep, another one that is 100% true. You're going to notice that all the top ones are pretty much true. So yes, another one that's 100% true. Haim Saban wanted to bring Power Rangers over to America since the early 80s when he first saw Bioman. In fact, until he spoke to the Fox Kids president at the time, Margaret Lotion? I don't know how to say that name. Well, anyways, until he started talking to her is when the idea finally started to take shape, because she had been working at Marvel and she was actually familiar with Sentai from the days of when Stan Lee wanted to bring over Sentai to America. But yes, there were plenty of attempts that he wanted to do more of this, or he wanted to do a Ranger show before Zyuranger came along and just somehow was the one that got picked. So there you go. Yeah, this iceberg's gonna get heavy, so strap yourself in. So yes, as many people possibly know or possibly don't know, the original Key Ranger or Yellow Ranger from the original Go Ranger committed suicide. His name was Baku Hatakeyama, and that's, yeah. No jokes about this one, people. I mean, it's not a light situation to take, and I think the only reason it's on the top of the iceberg is because I'm pretty sure everybody knows about it. But yeah, it's it's a heavy one. Level 2. Now this is where shit starts getting weirder. Many people might not know about them. Many people might. There might be even some rumors thrown in here that aren't 100% fact. So let's get started. Yes, this is a popular one that was perpetuated by, I believe, maybe just a couple of interviews that Masaki Suda did. So after Writer, Masaki Suda gave a couple of comments, basically not the best light of his character on Double. Now, because of that, has perpetuated the rumor that he completely hated his role, he never wants to come back, he will never come back, blah, blah, blah. But as we've seen with Zio, he was originally supposed to make a comeback. It's just wasn't able to. Scheduling issues. So at one point, this was true, but Not anymore. So, this one's kind of weird because it depends which one. Because there's plenty of Godzilla scripts that were supposed to be the TriStar movie from way before. I believe the one that this is mentioning is the one with the Griffin. And even then, that was supposedly, quote unquote, supposed to be King Ghidorah. But there's a lot of weird red tape when it comes to that original script. So after doing a little bit more research into this topic, after I finished recording, I believe what this entry is talking about is not a unreleased 98 script, but in fact the script that was made for the 1994 and or 1996 released or supposed to be released film, written by Terry Russo and Ted Elliott. And I think that's the one this is talking about. In that case, there isn't actually that much crazy to go on about it because a lot of what is already known about that film is confirmed by the directors. And in fact, as I'm writing this and I checked it myself, you can still read the entire graphic novel adaptation of that movie on a place called kaijufile.com. I can put a link in the description to make sure you don't miss it. In fact, a lot of the pictures that I have here are from the unreleased, or the not unreleased, but the concept art of that film. I'm not going to put any pictures of the graphic novel in here just for, I just don't feel, that doesn't feel right to me. But yeah, you can go read the entirety of the graphic novel on there. I skimmed through it. It looks pretty graphic to live to its name. It's some pretty hardcore shit. There's even some like dismemberment and shit. So I recommend reading it just if you like to look at some history. But other than that, there isn't much to go off of here in terms of like unknown. The only one that I think is really unknown would be the one that was apparently going to have Mechagodzilla, but that one's such a weirdly disputed rumor that, like, depending on the day of the week, it could either be like real or not, and it just this whole thing, like, it's just crazy. It's a crazy little thing. I suggest if you can look more into that one. That one's more of the conspiracy one. But as for the unreleased 98 script, which is the 94 script, yeah, it's everything you need to know about it is there. It's pretty much widely available for anybody and everybody to watch or read up on. So this one I feel like should have been at the top, but for all new fans, I don't think you would know about this, so welcome. So yes, originally in the filming of Kamen Rider Ichigo, or Kamen Rider as it was known in 1971, during the filming of that, the original actor, Hiroshi Fujioka, as everyone knows, broke his leg during a motorcycle accident, and that was actually the genesis of what we have today as the Double Riders. Yes, this is where Kamen Rider Nigo was made, essentially out of necessity. So it's pretty interesting, actually. It's actually really interesting to read about. I suggest looking up more about it because it is kind of an interesting story, especially how they got the idea and how it all came into place with the Double Riders and everything. And it's just kind of cool to see that a strange, crazy, unfortunate accident made essentially what was what is now a trope that we can't really see right or without. So this one, I believe, is referring to the one X8 insert that was originally going to be done by Ricky of the Rider Chips. Funny enough, we just recently talked about this on a podcast episode, the top best whatever Heisei insert song ever. So if you want to learn a little bit more about that, check that out. But just a short version, Ricky was originally supposed to make a insert song for X8, specifically Mighty Action Double X, but he got sick and unfortunately it was never finished. Though there is a leaked demo going around. I don't know if you can find it. If I do find it, I will put it in the description, just like I do with mostly everything. So yeah, there you go. So this was essentially going to be the final boss of Car Ranger, which was also just going to be a parody of Mazinger Z. But unfortunately, they had to change it because by the time they got to that point, Toei didn't actually own Mazinger Z anymore. It's AJ from the future, as in this is editing AJ. So after further research, it was not because they lost the rights to Go Nagai's Mazinger Z. It's because they never had the rights to begin with. And they didn't want Go Nagai's production company, Dynamic Productions, to throw a fit. Which, knowing Japan, probably wouldn't have happened anyways, but you never know. So, correction over. So, they had to change it. Though, technically, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, supposedly they actually did recolor the suit and actually use it for a later mech. Though, I have not seen confirmation of that. I will probably look that up and edit a editor's note in here if it is true. So, there we go. I don't know where this is from. I don't know who made this up. I have no idea where the rumor started, but it goes that apparently Stan Lee wanted to bring Kamen Rider to the West, and he wanted Spider-Man and the V3 sort of cross-promotion to get people interested in V3 and bring him over here. So what I think this is talking about isn't Rider, it's Sentai. Because Toei in the late 70s worked with Marvel to make 3 Sentai series that went pretty well, or produced 3 Sentai series that went pretty well, along with Spider-Man. And Stan Lee wanted to sell Sun Vulcan to American TV stations like HBO. That's what I think this is talking about. Because other than that, I don't think I know a single instance in my entire life that I ever heard the words Stan Lee wanted to bring Rider to the US. It may have been a thing. It may have been a thing that he thought about or maybe had mentioned once or twice, but there was never really a conscious effort from what I've been able to find that he wanted to bring it to the US, at least Rider. He wanted to bring Sentai, so I think that that's what this is talking about. If not, I have no clue. It's not a far-fetched theory, but there's no concrete evidence of him ever wanting to bring it to the West. If anything, I would imagine Spider-Man, or Spider-Man as it's called, was meant to just show off Spider-Man more to the Japanese audience in the East. Though if I'm wrong here and there is an article or there's something out there that isn't just a theory piece, I would like to read it. So if anybody's out there that does know this, please send it to me and I will make a correction. So there you go. Yes, this is another thing that is kind of harsh. So back during the filming of Shinkenger, Shinken Red was basically not eating. He was not being given food or water, basically anything, because he didn't have any money. Now you might be wondering, well, what the fuck? Was Toei not paying him? Oh, they were paying him. But his agency, which, if you don't know anything about Japanese agencies, congratulations on keeping your innocence, because you don't want to know about that shit. So yes, so Shinken Red was just not being paid by his agency, who was basically the middleman. And because of that, dude just wasn't eating. He didn't have anything to eat. He couldn't afford to eat. So this is just one example of, well, agencies are shit in Japan. So yes, another one like this. So essentially a TV show called Changeryon, or Choko Senshi Changeryon, essentially had these crazy ass suits that all but one person could really move in, and they were almost actually canceled the show because they couldn't find anybody, because there was literally only one guy who could physically, comfortably move in it. That's just how heavy these things were. Reportedly, the one used for action weighed a whopping 90 pounds, and the one for close-ups, aka just wants to stand around, weighed almost 220 pounds. Imagine that crap. So, yeah, you think Kiva was bad? This shit would murder you. Level 3. Now, this level, we're getting deep into the doldrums. Some truths, some rumors, some just made up bullshit that somebody found on the fucking forums. We'll see. So, let's begin. So, this one is derived from an SIC Hero Saga story that revealed that the Grongi, much like the Linto, were once human. They were just made into the Grongi by some weird fucking meteor. That's really it. Now, technically, this is maybe canon, because somebody who worked on Kuga actually worked on this, and technically, depending on the day of the week that you're on, and the alignment of the moon to the stars, and if you're doing it on the 25th anniversary of the Gettysburg Address, it is canon. But it's also an SIC Hero Saga story. So it's also not canon, because this is also the one where we had Ooze, which is just O's with a giant-ass driver. So, up to you whether you want to believe it or not. I don't believe SIC Hero Saga stuff ever, unless it's, specifically, expressingly stated that it is canon. And this technically never was, so yeah. Now, why this one is so low, I'm not sure, but apparently, according to some people, which was in fact a thing at one point, there is a number theory going on in the Heisei series of riders. And by that, it basically means that they followed a number system for every single gimmick. Most people like to start at double, but others say it's decade because he has one gimmick, then double has two, O's has three, Forza has four, and that's about it. That's where it ended. Some people, which we call the crazies, like to believe that it kept going after Forza, even though, I mean, guys, just look at this. Really? 2 icons stacked on top of each other is an 8. The lock seat opened is a 6. The shift cars flipped is a 7. I mean, I'm just saying, I know it's on the iceberg, and I kind of have to talk about it objectively, but my opinion, people who still believe in the number theory are basically the flat earthers of Tokusatsu. I'm just saying. So this one might be a little too low on the iceberg, but at the same time, I don't think a lot of newer fans know about this. So when O's was originally airing, there were a ton of plans that were originally supposed to happen for it, but the tsunami kind of stopped that. And if you don't know what tsunami I'm talking about, the 2011 tsunami and reactor meltdown of 2011 in Japan is what I'm referring to. Because of that, a lot of plans had to be changed. A lot of things had to be switched around. And just a few things, because I can't really get into it because this video would be like 4 hours if I did. A couple of things that were going to happen was Dante was originally supposed to stay dead. Ankh was supposed to be the main villain. There was supposed to be a Greed civil war that happened. A ton of different things. If you want to know more about it, we do have an episode on O's, actually, if you would like to look it up. We talk about it more in detail there. Just be warned, it is one of our earlier episodes. Audio fidelity, it's not the best. So if you can take that, and if you want to hear more about this, please go check that out. But yeah, so that's basically the idea behind the original plans of O's, just to give you a short TLDR. On January 31st, Ricardo Medina Jr. stabs his roommate Joshua Sutter through the abdomen with a sword. According to Medina, it was all in self-defense. He didn't do it to murder the guy, just on purpose, and the whole thing just ensued. Originally, there was really no charges left on him. There was nothing really that was going to happen, and the thing kind of just settled down. On January 14th, 2016, he was arrested on the murder charge of Sutter and possible life sentencing. Though in 2017, he did plead to 1 felony count of voluntary manslaughter, and on March 30th of that same year, he was sentenced to the maximum 6 years in prison, which would let him out around 2022. Yeah, there's no jokes to be made about this one, guys. It's a tone of whiplash, isn't it? So, Hibiki's rework is one of the most publicized retoolings, rework, redos ever. Because not only is it a very well-known thing to the Western fans, it's still something that even Japanese fans, Eastern fans, I should say, still talk about. Because it was just that, I wouldn't say publicized, but it's more of a thing everybody knows about. Not exactly an open secret, but everybody knows about it. Because it was pretty egregious just how fast everything just turned to shit. So, Takatera, the original director, had a lot of things against Toei. Or Toei had a lot of strikes against him, I should say. That goes from things from bad word of mouth for the show, low toy sales, expensive shooting. He was running behind schedule a lot. And let's be honest, from what people say, he was kind of hard to work with in some aspects. But that being said, it was kind of a tonal shift when he was fired because they brought in Shirakura. And anybody who knows who Shirakura just worked on, aka Zio and Ninja, well, yeah, it turned the whole thing to garbage. And it's quite unfortunate as well because Hibiki as a show is vastly underrated for the first half. I believe had it gone on the way it should have, I believe it probably would have been one of my favorites. But sadly, things just didn't go the way they did. Hell, to be fair, there were still production issues happening towards the very end to where even the final episode wasn't done. Like they were writing the final episode as they were filming the final episode. So it's just this whole thing that Hibiki itself is just, it's in and of itself, it is an iceberg because there's so many things wrong with it. There's so many things that happen to it. And I just feel really bad about it overall. But if you want to learn more about it, I believe there's still a Japanese-only blog running around. This is the same thing with O's. This is all coming from the Japanese blog of the production blog. I don't know where it is. I don't know if it's still around, but like a lot of Japanese blogs, if they don't keep paying for the blog space, it's just gone. So I'll try and find that, but if you can do some research on your own as well, I 100% recommend it. Now, this one isn't as publicized as the Hibiki one, but yes, around halfway through Blade, specifically around the early 30s, the writer was just 100% replaced. Reasons citing anything from just the writer was not cooperative to low sales to Toei just wanting to try something different are all up in the air. So basically halfway through, like I said, Blade just got changed around. Though, fortunately, unlike Hibiki, it didn't suffer as much. But there are certain changes that you do notice once you watch the show. So, this is a fun one. So, rumor has it, and by rumor it basically means truth, Takeru Sato, aka Ryotaro, aka Kamen Rider Deno, has a thing for idols, and he has a reputation of boning them, which earned him the name Idol Slayer. There really isn't anything more to it. I don't know why it's so low, but there you go. Oh boy. This is another one where I'm going to have to give you a TLDR, but if you do want to know more about it, do go watch our Ultraman Guide episode or listen to it on Spotify. So, TLDR, China essentially made quote-unquote legal bootlegs of Ultraman, and due to a shit ton of legal proceedings and legal red tape, Tsuburaya was basically not able to do a damn thing. Fortunately now, Tsuburaya has now all the rights back to those Ultramen that they had, which I believe was Ultraman the OG all the way to 7 or Taro. I can't remember off the top of my head. Again, editor's note. So, yeah, so that's basically that. Jesus. So, yes, Yusuke Tomoe, who portrayed Ryo Asihara, or Kamen Rider Gills from Kamen Rider Akito, did in fact beat his wife. In fact, he beat her so hard that she miscarried. I there's really no jokes to be made about that. There's no, I can't even bring the words to like really describe just how terrible that is. You just hear the words, he beat his wife into miscarriage, and you just know that this guy is just scum. I mean, the guy didn't even try and deny it. He just flat out said, like, oh yeah, no doubt, I totally did it. I don't even know if he said it with any sort of regret or if he just didn't give a shit. But damn, dude, damn. And, let's not even forget the fact that he also took a lot of money from a lot of women that he was going around with. If I remember the story well, the only reason his wife got so mad at him to the point where he beat her was because she found out that he was hardcore just cheating on all of them. And because of this, it forced him, quote unquote, to retire. I mean, to be fair, even if he didn't retire, nobody would hire this guy after that. Nobody. He did once also admit that he was getting too anxious during the argument to the point where he found himself not able to restrain from the violence, which, I mean, that's just insane to even say something like that. And again, to me, it's if him beating his girlfriend, his living girlfriend who was pregnant, if him beating her was not enough, it's the fact that he forced her to miscarry that just like, that's where I think you go from you made a disgusting decision to you made an abhorrent decision. And I mean, like, the guy's career would be ruined. Like I said before, it would have been completely ruined. Nobody would have hired him. So that's it. That's pretty much everything there is to say about this. Fuck him. And I feel really bad saying that because Gills was one of my favorite characters in Nagito, but fuck him. Another one that there's really no jokes to be made about it. On May 18, 2017, Tatsuya Nomoi, who played the Shishi Ranger on Gosei Sentai Dai Ranger, took his own life. By all accounts, great man, great actor. People still love him for what he did on Dai Ranger, and hope he rests well. So this one is simultaneously very easy to speak of, but at the same time, not very easy to explain. You'll see what I mean. So around 2008-ish, 2009-ish, 2007-ish, there was going to be a movie called Godzilla 3D to the Max, which is going to be, surprisingly enough, an American released film. It was also later on going to be released in Japan, and it was only going to be about 40 minutes. It was just going to be some fun 3D Godzilla movie. Funny enough, if this was supposed to be released in about 2008, 2009, I believe this actually would have predated the uprising again of 3D films that came along with Avatar. So yes, this was essentially just going to be a 40-minute film, and even some veterans of Godzilla were going to be working on it, such as the director of Godzilla vs. Hedorah, Yoshibitsu Banno. And it wasn't going to be this epic 2-hour-long movie. Again, it was only going to be 40 minutes until eventually Toho kind of stepped in and they were like, yeah, no, let's just stop this. We're just going to go from this in favor of the 2014 film that Legendary eventually made. So nothing crazy, no big red tape around here. I know a lot of people know about this one specifically because of James Rolfe's Monster Madness videos that he did during the time, and he mentioned this. So yeah, this never really happened and never came to fruition, and eventually it was just scrapped altogether to turn into, well, Godzilla 2014. Though, just a quick thing on the side, there was actually going to be a new monster introduced called Deathla, which by some accounts was pretty much going to be similar in appearance to Hedorah. So, you like Godzilla vs. Hedorah? No? Well. In 1995, Tokyo subway suffered a serious sarin gas attack. Now, if you don't know what sarin gas is, it's classified as a nerve agent, which is pretty much at the tippy top of all sorts of chemical warfare. Hell, even just a small dosage of it can lead to increased pain in the abdomen, diarrhea, chest tightness, blurred vision, and extreme large doses can lead to convulsions, paralysis, respiratory failure, loss of consciousness. Even just a small drop on your skin can make you twitch, basically start convulsing. And the worst part is that it's odorless and it's colorless, so you don't know where or when it happened. All you know is that you were exposed to it. So what does this have to do with O-Ranger? Well, O-Ranger was in fact meant to be a darker series, and there was a proposed story arc that sadly did kind of hit too close to home, in the sense that because of the sarin attacks that were happening at the time, it kind of felt like it was in bad taste, and because of that, the entire arc was just thrown out the window because they just did not want to take that risk, especially because, well, a lot of the arcs in O-Ranger were a mix-up between dark and even some comic stuff, or some comedy stuff, I should say, and Toei just did not want to deal with that. So sadly, it all just went up in smoke. And the sad thing is, because of this, or a cause, this is more like a symptom, not the disease itself, this did cause ratings to drastically decrease. So much so that at one point, Sentai was almost considered for cancellation. Almost, but not quite. Level 4. This one is going to be mostly filled with very obscure urban myths, legends, rumors, but also some real life facts. So let's see where we get here. Yes, this one is true. In the Kamen Rider Ryuki novel, written by our favorite man, Toshiki Inoue, he made Kamen Rider Oja eat literal shit. Yeah. Inoue's a fucking madman. What can I tell you? So yes, there's a perpetual rumor that I believe started up within the past few years that Ultraman Tiga's dub was supposed to just be a joke. All of it was just made for the Yuck Yucks. There's really no more information other than that. There have been some people who have tried to stow away information saying, yes, it was a joke, or it was made for some laughs. I mean, if you've seen the Tiga dub, I mean, it's laughable.
How do you wake up a 150-foot statue? Hit him with a pillow?
But a joke, that would be interesting. Because this isn't the first time they had a joke dub of a Toku series. In 1988, we had something called Night Flight, which is a redubbed version of Dynaman. And it was basically done as a joke.
I smell fish.
So this may hold some water, only because of that. This one I know is for a fact a 100% unsubstantiated rumor. The rumor goes that Toei, seeing how badly Masked Rider and Dragon Knight did in the US, have essentially been trying to block any sort of adaptation, and according to some versions of the rumor, even trying to block any sort of expansion of Rider into the West. Now again, this is all unsubstantiated. None of this is proven true. You can make up whatever conspiracy theories in your mind that can make sense. And in a way, I can almost see where this one is coming from. But no, it is not true, at least from what I know. So, acclaimed producer Oliver Stone wanted to make an Ultraman series, or at least adapt Ultraman Gaia. This is actually 100% true. From a tweet from Konaka, the story composer of Ultraman Gaia, quote, "This year is also the 20th anniversary of Ultraman Gaia. I was the story composer. After a few years from a domestic on-air, Oliver Stone proposed to remake in the US. The producer was so surprised, but after all, nothing happened." End quote. So yes, there was originally some rumblings of a Gaia remake from Oliver Stone. That's kind of incredible, I'm not gonna lie. But as it shows, and as we know now, hindsight, there is no Ultraman Gaia remake. So unfortunate, but still, what a strange time it must have been. For Ultraman 80 around 1987, there was a proposed English adaptation of Ultraman 80 in the works, with who else but Batman, aka Adam West, as the titular character. Of course, never really went off ground. Why? There's a few reasons why, but most things just fell through. But again, what an interesting thing to think about. What would it have looked like, I do wonder. Yep. That's what it sounds like. Many writer-actors have done pornography. Most notably, Kamen Rider Blade and Kamen Rider Baron. They're there. If you want to find them, they're there. You can find them. It's not exactly exciting, but hey. Yep, Gakuzano has a twin brother called K. They look literally alike. And this rumor basically says that for some scenes in Kamen Rider Gaim, maybe, Gaku was a little too beaten up or too tired, or maybe he was sick. For some scenes, they used K. I can, not gonna lie, I can sort of see where this theory can come from, because, literally, look at them. No, actually, just listen to them. They sound very similar. All K really needs to do is just lower his voice a little bit, or deepen his voice a little bit, and it sounds similar. So, this isn't confirmed, but hey, I could totally see it. In the late 1980s, Takeshi Sasaki, otherwise known as Kamen Rider Nigo, was burned in a house fire. Over 60% of his body was burned. In fact, he was burned because he was trying to escort people to safety from the fire. And the result basically left him disfigured. Over time, the surgeries that they tried to do to reconstruct his face basically left him in both emotional and financial ruin. He essentially had to start taking jobs wherever he could find them. He didn't want to accept anything that he deemed as charity. The whole incident pretty much left him very emotionally conscious, socially conscious. He didn't want to go out anymore. He didn't want to do anything anymore. He didn't want to be an actor anymore, because he was just that messed up from his traumatic experiences. Though, thankfully, thanks to his close friend Shoji Ishibashi, he was eventually able to get all his money back, or most of it, and his confidence back to the point where he could make public appearances again. Hell, he actually came back to be Kamen Rider Nigo again. Of course, voice role only, but still. And hey, you know what? If for nothing else, I can honestly say, guy's a fucking hero, and to me at least. Tried saving people from a burning building and sacrificed his own body to do it. Fuck it, dude. You know what? It don't mean much, but I'd buy you a beer. So, according to the rumor or conspiracy theory, if you want to call it that way as well, Haim Saban actually sold Power Rangers off much earlier to Disney than we ever realized. In fact, some people actually say that he might have sold it as early as the end of In Space. Now, none of this is substantiated. None of this is researched or verified by any sort of party involved in the matter. But there are people who do think that certain aspects of Power Rangers did change to seem a bit closer to what Disney would eventually make Power Rangers be. So make of that what you will. Look up certain conspiracies, because again, this is one of those things that people say, but they never really truly elaborate on it. They just say, oh, you'd see it if you watch the shows. So do a little bit more researching yourself, because I wasn't able to find much on it. This is just a rumor that's been going around for years. So there you go. Shunsuke Takasugi is a fugitive. And why is he a fugitive? Because between 2003 and 2012, he took reportedly over $50 million from his fans. And once he had all the money and refused to give any of it back, he vanished. And he's still wanted to this day. Where he is, what he's doing, I don't know. Nobody knows. There are some reports to say that he may have not taken as much money as he did. There are some reports saying that he may have taken more. There are some people saying that some of the victims were completely discredited. There are some saying that no, there were more than enough victims to say that he did take away the $50 million. It's extremely messy. It's extremely long to look into. There's not even that much evidence or info out there. All we really have are some people's word against others, tabloid articles. That's not much to go off of. So this is one of those things that, yes, is true, but we have literally nothing more to go off of than that. Well, welcome back, Inoue. So in the quote-unquote canon, Kamen Rider 5's novel, Kaikuso rapes Mari. It's honestly one of the weirdest, most, I wouldn't say shocking, but it's definitely one of the most off-putting bits of writer literature or writer media that I've ever actually come across. In fact, I do believe that chapter is fully translated. And as we know, Inoue does have a thing for doing this type of thing in novels. I mean, just read the Jetman novel while you're at it. No spoilers, but Jesus fucking Christ. And that's really all there is to say about this one. I believe at this point most people would know about this one, but again, this was really made for new fans, and new fans, welcome to Toshiki Inoue. The Depths. This is the shortest one on the list today, but I believe it has more than enough content to talk about each one of these to essentially, fill up the rest of this. Yeah, 21 years before Godzilla ever made his full-screen debut in 1933. There was a short comedy film based on King Kong that was made in Japan. Now, unfortunately, there are a lot of Japanese films that were made before 1945 that are just considered lost. Yeah, no joke. Before 1945, a lot of those Japanese movies are just considered non-existent now. Of course, there are a multitude of reasons why that is. Obvious one would be the war, being destroyed in fires. And this was back in the day when film was made out of very, very, very flammable material that could basically just be set on fire by rubbing it too hard. In fact, it is actually considered, now this is debatable because again, a lot of films from that era are no longer around to be verified, but it is actually considered nowadays as the very first kaiju movie. Yeah, even beating out Godzilla. That's an interesting fact to have in your pocket there. Now again, a lot of things can be taken into account, like for the fact that it's a comedy movie, so maybe it didn't even have a giant monster, but it's called King Kong. You kind of make the assumption it's obviously a kaiju movie. So maybe one day we'll see some guy rip it out from his vault somewhere. But right now, 100% considered lost, but it's an interesting tidbit now, isn't it? Shotaro Ishinomori, as you all know, is the daddy of Kamen Rider, the creator of Kamen Rider. But according to some rumors, basically unsubstantiated, again, as I've said again, that's my favorite word today. So yes, unsubstantiated rumors basically say that he fucking hated Kamen Rider. He hated what it became. He hated what it was. But this is one of those rumors that is possibly easily debunked, because Ishinomori made a ton of cameos in Rider. He was basically Stan Lee before Stan Lee. He made a shit ton of cameos in multiple shows, multiple movies, multiple things that he made. So you can make the argument maybe he was just doing it for the money, maybe he didn't care, but in reality he really didn't like what it became because of the original idea was kind of butchered. But all in all, not really much to go off of there. The rumor has kind of been around for a while, and there's really no evidence to show that he was unhappy with it. I mean, hell, he was still writing it all the way up to Kuga, or at least very heavily involved in it all the way up to Kuga when he died. So I don't believe this at all. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Maybe there's an article I'm missing. Maybe there's a memoir somewhere that I've never read that basically tells me that Ishinomori hated Rider. But if anything, I'm probably sure he hated Sentai. Ooh, shot fired. So in 2002, Cosmos was taken off the air for a number of weeks. Taiyo Sugiura was arrested and questioned under assault and extortion charges. And in fact, during this time, the show, like I said, was completely taken off the air, and two movies, well, actually no, a movie and a series was shown in its place. So it's kind of interesting. And yes, as I said, this is all true. Though, of course, as we know, Sugiura was later released due to lack of evidence. So whether or not he actually did it, well, I don't know, and I can't really speculate. So that's really all that one is. Around the time of Power Morphicon 2007, the entirety of the Operation Overdrive cast was invited, including, obviously, the Black Ranger, Samuel Benta. At this time as well, they were all given a banner to donate to charity with their autographs. Unfortunately, that banner was never sent to the charity. Why? Because according to the rumor, Samuel Benta stole said banner. Now, there is a video out from February 26th, 2020, from Samuel Benta himself, saying that he was indeed in possession of the banner, but it was never autographed, and he was going to get the autograph from the staffing committee. After he got the autographs, he claims to have left it in a room that he thought was totally out of the fans' reach. But when he came back, oh no, it was gone. So, make of that what you will. Make of that what you believe. Now, everybody and their mother has said the exact same thing. That, no, he pretty much stole it. But Samuel Benta said, no, it was stolen from me. Now, call me Mr. Crazy, but you would think something like that, you would keep on a shorter leash, a tighter leash. I don't know about you guys, but I don't exactly believe it. Now, again, this is still technically a rumor. It's not like this guy was ever convicted of anything. He was never taken to court for this or anything. But it still does not reflect well on him, especially since it's not like anybody ever came forward with the autograph banner. Although if they did, they'd probably get their asses kicked. So, you know. But again, the whole thing comes off as bad, and pretty much it's a 9 to 10 odds that he did take it, and a 1 out of 10 odd that it was stolen from him. Just so happened to be stolen from him in a room that he didn't think people could get into, which, by the way, if it was his hotel room, there's not many people that can break into hotel rooms, buddy. Just saying. So, make of that what you will. As we all know, about a little bit close to, if not at the halfway point of Den-O, Hana, played by Yuriko Shiratori, well, vanished. She basically left the show and was replaced by Kohana. This, obviously and understandably, sparked many rumors and stories about what happened. Was she just not popular enough? Was she just, hard to work with? Did she have prior responsibilities? No one really knew until the official story came out to say she left due to health reasons. Unfortunately, reality is often stranger than we think, because the official story may be the story that the newscasters go with, and maybe the story that her agency has gone with. But according to many people behind the scenes, many of which understandably have stayed anonymous, she was a victim of sexual abuse. Horrific sexual abuse. And to be fair, a lot of these are still rumors, but there's been enough smoke to the fire by many anonymous sources, and many of them seemingly verified sources, that it's hard to ignore. And it's hard to just say it's an unsubstantiated rumor, nobody should listen to it, whatever, just listen to the official story. In fact, even some people behind the scenes on the cast, extras and such, have kind of anonymously again said that they had seen it themselves. Now again, if you wish to believe this, that is your prerogative. If you wish to not believe this, once again, that is completely fine and up to you. I, for one, can kind of see both sides of this story, and I, for one, knowing what I do about Japanese agencies and Japanese producers and such like that, it does make this story a bit easier to, believe. And I hate to say that, because Den-O is one of those series that you see and you have a good time with, just for fun. And to know that one of the actors, or actresses I should say, left for a seemingly disgusting reason like that, yes, it is kind of harsh. And a lot of people might be saying, well, why has nobody ever come forward to it? Nobody ever said anything. You remember when I said earlier about Japanese agencies being garbage? Well, this is just another one of those instances. If anybody were to say something, which there is a history of people speaking up and their career just dying forever. So there are many instances of people saying something or doing something that pisses off an agency that gets that person blacklisted forever. So think of it this way. If an actor, let's say, sees something they're not supposed to and says something to somebody, in America, possibly they would get that person exposed and be seen as a hero. In Japan, sadly, not so much. In fact, in Japan, it's seen as almost a way of saying that you want your career never to go anywhere ever again. Again, this is all rumor. This is all things from quote-unquote verified sources that never really came out with their names, but even if they did come out with their names, they are risking their livelihoods. So a lot of this is very much one of those open secrets in Japan, where but you don't say anything, because if you want to work again, you better shut up. And unfortunately, that's just what happened. That's just how it went for her. Now again, I don't condone what happened to her. I don't accept what happened to her. And if it is easier for you to accept the official story, then go with it. That's fine. I, for one, having the knowledge that I do of what Japanese agencies are like, no matter how much they try and polish their outside view, this story is a bit more believable than it probably should be. So in conclusion, as you can tell, Tokusatsu's got a lot of ups, a lot of downs, a lot of fucked up people in it. But overall, it's kind of an interesting hodgepodge. Because Tokusatsu is such a weird genre to begin with when it's on screen, that when you look behind the screen, it almost seems like its own culture in a way. Like there's so much weird positives and negatives about it that I could possibly go on for another 4 or 5 hours just talking about this stuff, and I legitimately probably would not even scratch the surface. What I presented to you today was a selection, a cherry-picked selection of what I believe is what you probably didn't know and probably should know going into a series like Kamen Rider or Ultraman or Super Sentai, etc., etc. This is not to deter you from watching these shows. This is not to scare you away. This is just an educational tool that I thought would be interesting, using a very popular trend going on YouTube right now. Especially because, well, there's a lot of people who are in quarantine right now who just want to watch something interesting. I know that probably dated this video by a year or so, but you know what I mean. That this video, I believe, is going to be a good tool for someone who wants to get into this stuff, who may be interested in some more of the shady dealings or the drama behind the scenes. Now, of course, there's a lot of things that I didn't put on there, mainly because either they're not true at all, or there's just no evidence of them whatsoever. Because a lot of the stuff that we know now is only known because of very, very special circumstances. Usually Tokusatsu is a very closed off sort of genre where you don't know anything of the stuff that's going behind the scenes. The fact that we know anything about like the Hibiki rework or O's or Ultraman as much as we do is quite frankly a miracle that a lot of people don't seem to appreciate, which is also mostly why I wanted to do this, to just show more of that. Because a lot of this stuff, while shady, is kind of cool in a way, like the original plans for O's, for example. That's actually a really interesting topic that I would love to go more into one of these days, if I find the time and if I find the appropriate sources. So overall, like I said before, and I'm pretty much repeating myself at this point, this was just a tool to inform you about some of the things behind Tokusatsu, the good, the bad, and the extremely ugly. And that's the Tokusatsu Iceberg. Did I miss anything? Anything wrong? Go ahead and tell me in the comments. I'll do an addendum to this sometime in the near future. Or hell, if I get enough comments and suggestions, I'll do a part 2. Why not? Seems fun enough. And if you like the video enough, why not throw us a subscribe? Really helps the channel out. Plus, you get to know when our videos come out first. There's going to be a ton of new content coming up in the next new year, such as video game reviews, comic reviews, movie reviews, and of course, more Tokusatsu goodness, such as this one. In fact, I'm working on some video essays pertaining to Tokusatsu. And along with that, a series of video game reviews about this little-known franchise you probably never heard about it called Yakuza. Yep, I'm going all the way to the original first vanilla Yakuza in the PS2, so we'll see where we go from there. So once again, thank you for watching. Bye.